Welcome to the All New Marvel Roundup, the Southgate Media Group guide to the Marvel Comics of the week. I am Phil&rsquo, and as always, I'm joined by...
Yes, sir.
Alright, let's jump in. The last books of 2015. I will start with Captain America White number 5, the last part of the miniseries. Well, if you remember last issue, the Red Skull basically had Bucky tied up on the Eiffel Tower, and he's basically like, Captain America, you can either, save your partner or keep me from blowing up the Eiffel Tower. So, opens up with Bucky telling Cap, he's like, don't worry about me, don't let him blow up the city. So, basically some talking, yada yada. Cap starts, driving his motorcycle up the Eiffel Tower.
Up the Eiffel Tower?
That's what it looks like, because...
up the side, like it's an anti-grav bike from Doctor Who?
That's what it kind of looks like, at the bottom, and then they, go to the Red Skull and Bucky, and then all of a sudden Cap's, leaping down at them, so... Meanwhile, they're on the Eiffel Tower, so...
There you go, man. He's just that good of a motorcyclist.
But yeah, while Cap and... while the Red Skull and Bucky are waiting for Cap to drive up there... The Red Skull's like, you Americans think you can come into any country, just like you think it's your own, and Bucky's like, last time I checked, you crowds don't belong in France, or Poland, or Austria, Hungary, Czech.
So Skull's just waiting for him? He's just like...
Well, I guess he's waiting to see what choice Cap makes, and like I said, Cap all of a sudden comes flying at them from above and socks the Red Skull in the jaw.
Yeah, why doesn't the Red Skull just do both? Shoot Bucky while he's here, and push whatever button blows everything up. I mean... Oh, Red Skull.
But meanwhile, But then Von Strucker has the Howling Commandos and that French troop, remember, that the at the museum. And remember they were...
Prime.
Yeah, remember they were betrayed by, was his... Olivier the Leaper or something. We're like, oh, is he a relative of Batroc the Leaper?
Yeah, well, clearly so.
Well, the Leaper gets shot, and he tells Marilyn, he goes, watch over my grandson, little George's.
Wah, wah, yes. So
it's Batroc's grandfather, yes.
Yes, he was Vichy even then.
So basically, the Cap's fighting the Skull on the Eiffel Tower. Bucky's gotten loose. Basically, the Skull falls with, I guess he had dynamite, and it goes off. But luckily, nowhere where it does any damage.
Yay!
Yeah, Cap gets Bucky safely off the. Well, they leap off the Eiffel Tower, but they land on a big circus tent that the French troop put there. Then at the end, we see Cap talking to Marilyn, the leader of the French troops again, and he's thinking about how Bucky was right. He never kissed a girl, but because I guess this is his first kiss, because he kisses Marilyn. He's like, I guess I thought about Clark Gable kissing Scarlett O'Hara and Gone with the Wind, and the rest just came naturally.
Oh boy. That's a bit of a retcon for good old two-timing Cap with his women in each front, but why not? We'll say this is early in the war still.
And then at the end is just wrap up. It's Bucky's talking to Reb, and Reb's like, have you ever been to Camp Lehigh in North Carolina? Did basic there? He's like, I swear I know you all from somewhere. And Bucky's like, Reb, I reckon I got one of them faces.
Wah wah.
And then Nick Fury's telling Cap, because this is kind of after they just met. He's like, how good, good job he did, and he's like, but he figured out who, Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Bucky is Bucky. That's a big leap, but
yes. Bucky's secret identity of Bucky. They'll never realize that I, Bucky, am actually Bucky.
But Fury's telling Cap, he's like, what a good job they're doing, and he says, but don't get your panties in a bunch, I'll never repeat it, and if you ever do, I'll call you a goddamn liar.
So thumbs up on that?
Yeah, big thumbs up. Well, yeah, it's just, Cap and Bucky taking off on the motorcycle, and Cap's just... The last two pages are kind of like right after Cap got thawed out of the ice, and he goes to the cemetery, and I guess they erected statues to him and Bucky when they both thought they were dead, so he takes his shield and he destroys the statue of himself. And Fury's like, the taxpayers spend a lot of money on that, and Cap's like, on the last panel, he's like, bill me as he's driving away. But yeah, it was a good issue. The series as a whole, I would say, I don't know, sometimes it felt a little slow or lagging month to month, but I think if you get it as a trade, it would be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, big thumbs up.
What's next?
I'll get into All New Wolverine #3. You said you did skim it?
I did skim it. I actually, because I was always leaning towards it, and I was debating getting one extra book, and which actually wouldn't really be an extra book because it would have still been in my range. But basically, they made some choices that made me go, I'm going to pass. If you want to, and I'll tell you when you get to that point when you're telling everyone what happened in the book.
Okay. Well, of course, the end of the last issue we saw, it was Taskmaster, and he shot the 3 clones. So now Wolverine's all mad. She pops her claws. They start fighting, and of course you get the whole, I'm Taskmaster. I can counter anything. I can mimic and adapt any move. I can anticipate any blow. Until she stabs him through the hand and
yeah,
takes him down.
Which I thought was neat, but I had to ask myself, well, come on, he knows she's a Wolverine. Is he really going to make that rookie of a mistake? And that was sort of and you see, this is sort of where I am taken aback with this a bit, because I did think that these were, and especially what they do to Taskmaster after this. He's a guy without a healing factor, let's remember.
Oh, yeah, because, we see the clones are all alive. They were wearing body armor, and, of course, since they're clones of her, they have healing factors. But, yeah, the one shoots Taskmaster in both knees.
Yeah, which is like, that's not something you just get up from, literally. I mean, literally, that's like a lifetime hobbling of the Taskmaster for a one-off thing. I'm hoping that that's not really the Taskmaster, that was like a Taskmaster clone or something. Mm-hmm. Because if not, they basically just wiped out one of the great characters of Marvel. I mean, not that it's that hard to bring someone back, especially, they can, fortunately we had the thingy do there to get him right back up on his feet again, but it's like, it was a little too over the top violent for my tastes.
Yeah, well,
it's directed against a known character.
Yeah, but you know the thing, he'll come back and he'll never mention it again.
That's not a good thing.
No, I know, but that's the way it'll.
Yeah. Yes, it's like Catman being eaten by the brains gorilla.
Yeah, or he'll throw out some kind of line where he has like cybernetic knees or something. Something like that.
Anyway, moving right along.
All right, but so her and the Wolverine and the 3 clones go above ground. They were in the sewer, and the clones have some kind of like military transport, and then Alchemax finds them pretty quick, and the one's like, how did they find us so quickly? And they don't show who said it, but one of them says, I don't know, maybe because we're basically driving a tank through a city street. So there's like a rolling firefight going, and they also figure that Alchemax tracked them because I guess in issue 1 they planted a tracker on Wolverine, well, underneath her skin.
Yeah.
So there's that rolling firefight. The clones get away. Wolverine takes out the transport carrying the lead Alchemax guy, and she's like, the sisters are under my protection, and he's like, they're not sisters, they're not even human, they're like you, experiments, pretending. And Wolverine's like, basically like, if Alchemax comes after them again, I won't hold back. She's like, I've already beat you unconscious once today, and now I'm leaving you in the wreckage of a car crash, alone and bleeding. She goes, that's me holding back. And he's like, all like, we know where you live and all this, and you can't steal from us. And she's like, I won't be hiding. Then she goes back to the hideout, the clones' hideout, and they all say, they're all dying. They were accused of blowing up all these facilities. They said, no, we just did everything we could to escape, but we didn't blow anything up. And then, did you see the end of the issue?
Probably, but I don't recall what it was right now.
Well, she takes them for help, and, let me say this, looking for that one. Maybe it's from something else, but, no, she says, well, I know someone who might be able to help you, so they go out into the city, and they're like, are you sure this is safe? And she goes, she goes, I doubt there's many safer places on Earth. And she's like, well, how do you know they won't be watching the house? And of course, the owner of the house comes out and says, because no one can watch my house without my knowledge. And he goes, Wolverine, what do you want with Doctor Strange? And she goes, I don't need Strange. We only need the Doctor.
Yay. He gets to be all surgery.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good issue, even with the whole kneecapping and everything, but...
Although, for what it's worth, if you're going to go to a doctor and you go to Doctor Strange, I think it's... You should remember, this guy hasn't really practiced medicine in about, 15 to 20 years, depending on how you're going to work out sliding time. So it's like, I'm sure he can do it, but really, you probably want a Dr. Don Blake or, or just, a night nurse, someone who has, more recently been a doctor. Dr. Jane Foster, there's a lot of...
Yeah, but
any doctors in the Marvel Universe. Good educational system there.
Any holes he has in his medical knowledge, he can probably make up with a healing spell or something.
Well, yeah, which is fine, but then she wants the Strange, not the Doctor. That's all I'm saying, Okay. Moving right along. So, my first book this week, I'm going to go with what I'm saying is the deceptively family-friendly book, Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot. Because here's the thing: it is a rated T book. It is meant, it is a T book, but of course, it's got these cute cartoons on the cover. So I think there's a lot of kids out there whose parents are maybe down on comic books. They say, "No, Mom, see." Friendly tree being and a cute fuzzy raccoon. And they get it, and of course it's all explosions, death, violence, anime checks, and just carrying on. So we open it up and we've got our nice little splash page of your recap, and they're using the concept they used in the Groot series, which is Groot telling a tale, the sort of the Groot series of Groot telling a tale to these little guardians, some junior guardians that they're like a Cub Scout troop that they've got that they're on a trip with. And in it, he says, basically, it's been 8 months since that crazy thing happened. That thing that was secret and kind of warlike. Anyway, me and my buddy Groot here may have kind of disappeared, but don't get too worried. Our name's on the cover. How bad could this be? And of course, he opens up, and it's Rocket and Groot's funeral. And they're basic kitties, sort of, doing. This whole, thing says these two were like brothers to us all through so many years of putting their lives on the line for each and every one of us. And the thing says, I'm going to be honest, I'm not that broken up about this. Says, come on, Ben. And Venom's like, nah, he's right. He only knew Rocket and Groot for 8 months, and we don't even have the bodies, so this coffin seems a bit much. You are so cold, says Kitty. And Kitty says, you guys might not have known them well, but look at Drax. I've never seen him like this. I know you're hurting, pal. Why don't you say a few words about your friends? Says, Rocket loved this gun. And Groot, tree person, and only spoken the phrase, I am Groot. That was very annoying. Says, good share, Drax. So they shoot the coffin out into space, Star Trek style. It gets bazit-flumed into some kind of vortex, comes out the other side, and gets smashed into by Pockets and Shrub. Pocket, who I'm assuming is a possum, though they never call him out to be a possum, and Shrub, who speaks in only the phrase, me are Shrub. There are a couple of intergalactic smugglers Where have I seen this concept before?
Well,
And they meet at a facility where they meet a gentleman in a robe who is pretty clearly Groot, but doesn't speak. Gives them a delivery that they're to take to King Raccoon. And they load it up. They take it to King Raccoon, and of course Raccoon, who looks like a raccoon. Lord Raccoon. And he says, "You stand accused of stealing from me, Lord Raccoon. What do you have to say for yourselves before I torture you, then kill you?" And me, our shrub, and he's right. We didn't take anything. You've got this all. Shut your mouth. Shut your rodent mouth, says one of the guards as he smacks Pockets in the face. You sit on your knees in front of me, bleeding your last drops, and still you lie to me? I'm telling you, we didn't do this. I can explain everything. No need. I've heard enough. You are hereby sentenced to 3 days in the dungeon of torture and unimaginable horrors, followed immediately by death. No way, come on, me or shrub, as they drag away. He says, well done, Lord Raccoon. They got what they deserved. Well, thank you, faithful servant. Now do me a favor and have that trooper join them. Thief or not, no one deserves to be called a rodent. When he gets a whisper and says, so they were not thieves. No, my lord, there was a bit of confusion. They were here to deliver a gift to you. Well, then they should not be put to death. So let them free? What? No, still getting tortured. Can't look soft. What about the trooper? Let him go as well? The rodent hate speech? No, he's a goner. Carry on his plan. So he goes. He finds the big thing. They open it up, and out jumps a big guy in a robe who throws his guards around like they were nothing. And then Raccoon says, what in the holy blank is going on here? You come here, pop out of a cell like some sort of stripper at a birthday of death and lay waste to my guards. I'm Lord Raccoon. Who the blank are you? And he stands up and he doesn't say I'm Groot, but it is clearly I'm Groot, and he has a bunch of carvings all over his body. Actually he does say, I am Groot, as he picks up Raccoon. To be continued. On the next page, we see a close-up of Groot. You see that written on his body is, Cosmo knows who you are. Knock 3 times. Knock, knock. Bump in the night. Up, down, down. Left, right. Start. Fun book as always. Rocket and Groot. I get it for the kids, but I like it too. And it's an intro. I'm looking forward to see where it goes. Okay, you're next too.
All right. Well, just a spoiler warning now. Some of these, I don't know if Diamond messed up, and some of these aren't supposed to come out till next week. So I'll try to keep the spoilers light, but
spoil away. If they're out, they're out.
Well, I'm thinking this next one, I'm going to be spoiling some because it's pretty good. There's some good lines, and I'm thinking it's my pick of the week. It's Deadpool and Cable, split second, number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it opens up at a research lab in where Deadpool and S.H.I.E.L.D. are trying to stop some of the nefarious Hydra scheme, and Deadpool's just like slicing Hydra agents up.
As he does.
Yeah, and then he gets to the scientist they're looking for, a black gentleman whose name is Dr. Carl Weathers. So what does Deadpool call him the whole rest of the issue? Dr. Carl Weathers.
Yes. I remember his name, Winslow, right?
He goes, Dr. Not Apollo Creed?
Oh. Yeah. Dr. Not Apollo Creed, yes. Carl Weathers.
So, so S.H.I.E.L.D. escorts the doctor out, because I guess they say he was working on some time travel stuff that Hydra was trying to kidnap before a conference he was trying to get to in Manhattan. And then we get to Cable. He's having visions of the future where he sees the doctor get killed, and then he sees Deadpool with a smoking gun. So I'm sure it's that cut and dried, but
yeah.
But then Deadpool goes home to the wife, where it looks like she's sacrificing a goat. And he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What are you doing? That's unacceptable." He's like, "I come home from a hard day of work, and that's what you're wearing," because she's in like a shirt and sweatpants. So she's like, "Oh, you want me to look like this?" And she uses her magic. First, she's in lingerie. She's like, "Or this," and he goes, "Oh, be still my heart," as in BEA. So I guess he's saying B Arthur. I don't know.
Yes, he does love B Arthur.
Or then she morphs into like her demon form, or she's like, "Or perhaps this is what you truly deserve." And he's like, "The middle one was better." But then he gets a call from his buddy Hydra Bob, who gives him the lowdown that the whole thing with the whole thing the Doctor was working on, a time travel harness, and Hydra didn't have this, and because he was like, Hydra's gonna get this, and in the wrong hands could be dangerous. And Deadpool's like, "Bob, you are the wrong hands." He's like, "I meant worser hands than Hydra." He's like Monsanto.
Waka.
Yeah, so Deadpool's like, "Yeah, me and Shield will get on that." But then all of a sudden, Deadpool got a gun to the back of his head, and he's like, "If you kill Dr. Weathers tomorrow," he's like, "it'll lead to the destruction of the universe." So they get into a fight until Deadpool's like realizes it's Cable, because like Deadpool had a hood, like a coat with a hood on. So once the hood comes off, he sees it's Cable. Deadpool's like, "Holy Clark Kent glasses, Cable."
Boy.
Then we see a shadowy figure. Looks like maybe he has the time travel harness, but so Cable's like, "I gotta stop you from killing Dr. Weathers," and Deadpool's like, "Why would I want to kill not Apollo? I'm the guy who saved him." And so then they go into like their a page or two of like their history, and then I don't know where this is from, but Deadpool says something like, "Yeah, Cable got himself blown up pretty good, but since he doesn't have a healing factor, he was popping his brain into different clone bodies." But for some reason, I guess the whatever cloning facility he had blew up. So
Okay.
because he was saying, I guess now that he's in a clone body, Cable doesn't have his mutant powers, his telekinesis or his telepathy. He isn't infected with the techno-organic virus, which is good. But like, I guess the only thing he gets is like precognitive flashes now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would he have it?
I don't know. Yeah, because aren't mutant powers genetic? So if he cloned himself, why wouldn't he still have his powers?
Don't look too deep. Yeah.
I guess.
Wasn't he like supposed to have? See, I didn't even know he had powers. I thought his powers, like he didn't have powers because of the techno-organic virus. So.
Well, no, he needed most of his he would have been like a really powerful mutant, like almost like Phoenix class. Yeah, but he had to use most of his telekinesis to like hold the techno-organic virus in check. I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
So basically,
maybe when they made the clone, because they had to separate out the techno-organic virus, the mutant gene went with it. I don't know. There we go. That works.
Yeah. So they basically we gotta go save the Doctor. So Deadpool yells to his wife, "Shikla, can Cable and I go out to stop me from killing someone? Huh? Please? Can I please?" And she's like, "Just be home in time for dinner. We're having goat stew."
Sounds good.
Yeah, so they're basically on. Then Cable and Deadpool are on a rooftop overlooking where the Doctor's gonna get shot, and so Deadpool's like, "Okay," so he's like, "So let me get this straight." He's like, "You lost all your powers, but you can see the future." And he says, "Yeah." And Deadpool's like, "Because you are from the future." And Cable's like, "Yeah, I get it." And Deadpool goes, "And now you have the ability to see your past, so your new power is being good at history."
There we go.
And Cable's like, "Yeah, I don't know what I am anymore." And Deadpool goes, "Well, let me tell you what you're not. Not as popular as me." He's like, "I'm beloved, a YouTube sensation, well-adjusted and completely validated. More pop culture fans cosplay me at one con in one weekend than they have you in like 20 years.
Okay. So this is obviously taking place after Secret Wars.
Yeah. So, and Cable's like, "Yeah, and you're married now." He's like, "I know, right? It's great." He goes, "She tells me what to do, where to go, and what to think, and we almost never have sex, like ever. Wives are great."
Oh, there you go.
So Deadpool calls Shield, and then we see the Doctor coming out, but I guess the time traveling villain pops in, and Deadpool's fighting him, and Cable comes to like enter the fight, and he jumps off the building with a rope, and he hits the ground, and he's like, "Oh, this was a lot easier when I had my telekinesis." So Deadpool tries to shoot the time traveler, who blinks. Well, the guy keeps blinking in and out. Deadpool keeps trying to shoot him, and then at the end of the issue, we see everyone's has a shocked look on their face after the last shot. Deadpool didn't shoot not Apollo, but he looks like he shot a kid.
Ooh.
Yeah. And to be continued. Really good issue, like I said. I think this is my pick of the week. There's a lot of funny in this book, so.
I wish I had picked it up. Oh well.
It's a $5 book, so.
Oh, that's why I didn't. Yeah.
I don't know if this was digital first or not, because there was no code in that. There was no code in there to get a digital copy, and I know they do that sometimes if something was digital first.
Marvel, do not raise all your books to $5, please. Okay, I'm watching you, Marvel. You know, it's don't kill us, man. Don't kill us.
Well, that could be another. That could be another sign that it's like it was a digital first book, maybe, because a lot of times they'll shove a couple chapters in a book and make it $5.
Oh, there you go.
All right. And for my next book, like I said, kids, a lot of these might be coming out next week, so bear with me. Nova number 3. Well, from the looks of it, remember at the end of the last issue, it seemed like Sam's father had been replaced by some kind of alien.
Yes, or a robot, or other thing.
Yeah, something had to rearrange its face, but so it looks like here Sam went to Tony Stark for help to help track down his dad. He's like, can we track his helmet? And Tony's like, sure, I'll. But he's like, if the thing knew everything your father knew, they knew where your family is. So Sam takes off, goes home, and tells his mom, it's not dad, it's an imposter. And then 1 week later, you might be interested in this. Sam's with the team again. Well, it looks like they're working on their new headquarters with Division, Miss Marvel, and Spider-Man. Miles Morales. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they're, I guess, the all new, all different Avengers. It looks like an old airplane hangar maybe or something.
Okay.
But it's in the middle of a field, so.
Huh.
I don't know if it's gonna be I wonder if they're gonna do some kind of version of their new headquarters from the movie.
Oh, maybe it's in Jersey.
No. Yeah, they don't say where.
One of the old Stark Stark hangars left over from World War II, where the Spruce was held, or some other ludicrous invention of Howard Stark, the Spruce Tesseract Gateway.
Yeah, so it looks like they're all wiring it up, and I guess since Tony knows Sam's all depressed, he tells the kids to go get some fresh air and go take off, and he's like, Vision, you can handle this by yourself, right? He's like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So it looks like they got some fast food, and they're sitting on a roof in Manhattan eating it, and they're talking about I didn't think it would be like this to be an Avenger, all the downtime and stuff, and all the DIY on the new headquarters, Miss Marvel said, and Spider-Man's like, yeah, Iron Man, doesn't he have a couple spare penthouses we can use? Yeah, Sam's not paying attention because he's also thinking about his father. Until a bunch of moloids pop out of the ground, so.
Yay, moloids.
They go to take care of that, and they lead them till they go back underground. And Spider-Man's like, I don't know, should we squeeze down that hole? Do we just let them go? And Miss Marvel's like, I don't think so, Spidey. And Spidey's like, oh, right, because we're Avengers. And of course, they follow them down underground to, well, of course, it's the Mole Man, but he thinks his, his son sent them as spies, and they're like, no. Because I guess the Mole Man says he's, what?
Oh, the Mole Man's son? The Man Mole? That was the last time. That was the last time his son got mentioned. Well, if he has another son, I don't know, but he has a son who is the mole man had a child with a deviant woman underneath, which is not a deviant, but like a deviant of the opposite race of the Eternals who live underground, and his son is the man mole, and they sort of give each other a wide berth, each declaring themselves the king of the underworld. Sorry.
No, that's okay, yeah. He never mentions him by name, so it could be him, because he just says, I'm being unraveled. My own son is waging war on me.
Oh, yeah.
And then he has the Moloids use some kind of knockout gas and knock the three of them out. They wake up in some kind of arena, because at the end of the issue, I guess they're going to have to fight some big underground creature.
So... is this like a second backup story, or is this like continuing?
No, it's all one story.
So they do a time jump after he's like, "Oh, go make sure your parents aren't being killed."
Yeah. He goes to check on his mom, and he tells his mom the whole thing. Yeah, then they jump ahead like a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was good. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Anything with Moloids and Ms. Marvel, how could you go wrong? Okay, so my next book, which is my big $4.99 book, Howard the Duck #3, plus the last Gwenpool story ever. Just kidding, she'll be back. Okay, so we open up with Howard the Duck, silver, on a silver surfboard, saying, lately things have been rough. I mean, yeah, my whole life's been rough, but man, oh man, this last year, I've been punched, kicked, shot at, thrown in space jail, and I almost helped a guy destroy Earth, which is kind of a big deal. You know, when you're doing a thing that's supposed to be safe, but you feel like deep down you're the one who's going to die doing it? Someone once told me that that's like negative ego, like... you think the world revolves around you in a bad way. Oh, I'm so special. I'm the one who's going to have their chute nut open. I'm the one who's going to get hit by lightning. But the facts are the facts, pal. Everything has been going wrong for me. My life is spinning well out of my control, and I'm 99.999% sure the universe is actually trying to kill me. And they show a big armada of ships chasing Silver Surfer Duck. And the name of this issue is Deep Space Wine. Cut back 1 week earlier, the majestic swamps of Citrusville, Florida, USA. We see Howard and Tara facing off against Linda and Shockett. Linda calls to their ship Thunder Trek, come in on our location. And it says, bleepity doop, okay, bleep boop. Tara morphs into a super, spiky thing to say she's going to protect them. He says, hey, you mess with the duck, you mess with me, you tiny terrorists, I'm a superhero now, and has asterisks and end note, Captain Kara, The Last Avenger, in theaters, 2032. Then she gets shot by Shockett, and Linda is like, why do you always have to escalate? Look, Howard, is it we do not want to keep shooting you, just come with us, okay? Linda, careful touching him. We don't know how this works yet. It could be, and then you get this big hand come between them. Says, hands off the merchandise. I think that's supposed to be Tara's hand, growing large. But then Howard gets captured by the wizard, who says, silence, I will take your when the ship revs, I will take your ride and leave this godforsaken swamp unharmed. All I want to do is go home. And then he vanishes as Howard starts to glow. Yeah, he goes, he's inside me. Weird little man is inside me. Linda says, he's not inside you. He's home. He wanted to go home, and you just sent him there. But you are bonded with the nexus of all realities now. As a result, you can act as a gateway between places in this universe and others. You can either think of a place and others can travel there, or they can override you with their thoughts of a destination. You've made it so the nexus is now no longer random. It's mobile via you. I just wanted to go home. What is wrong with my life? Who are you? She says, it's a bit of a long story, but remember when you and your raccoon friend were captured by the Collector? And it says, of course not. Why would I remember being in a space prison with a space werewolf? Well, Shockett here and I, we're gender-altered clones from the Collector's plan to populate our species. We escaped, went into the past to avoid detection by him, but now time has caught up with us. And they have Tara go, wait a second. Okay, continue. I just needed to process that. Basically, Howard says, I have to go with them. I have to help them because if I didn't, what kind of duck would I be? Meanwhile, they are being attacked by the Collectors, as well as apparently some Skrulls are attacking them because everybody wants to get the Nexus of Realities. And then another ship comes out of nowhere and basically decimates them all. And Howard is captured by the Stranger, who actually is looking very nicely drawn now. They're not giving him that super huge hipster mustache. It's much more curtailed now with just a slight point to his goatee. It's still a little bit of a wax mustache, but it's not that big, crazy looking thing that he usually has. Basically, he wants Howard to be his doorway to his own universe because as a Nexus he can actually create a universe now by will, and he's tired of wandering universes where everyone's trying to interfere with his plans, and he decides when he says his friends are on the ship, just let his friends, because Howard says, okay, look, I'll be your living doorway for eternity, just let my friends go. And the Stranger says, no, friends are a problem. People with friends tend to do stupid things like stage rescue missions, so he blows up Shockett and Linda's ship. However, 5 minutes earlier, elsewhere, Howard had them essentially pop through their bodies for help, and of course they go to the Guardians of the Galaxy, where Rocket meets Shockett. And of course this has, Shockett saying, nah, I'm going to live forever. There ain't nobody like me. Waka waka. Catch up to the Gwenpool backup story. We see Howard in a graveyard with the Black Cat giving her back the box from the previous issue that had the virus that Gwenpool stole from here. And he says, I believe our blackmail transaction is complete now, Ms. Black Cat. I can't believe you actually got it. Couldn't catch the mystery girl who stole it, though, huh? Says, I'm a 3-foot-tall duck, and my superpower is a pretty nice hat. You're lucky you're getting anything out of this. And then we come back and says, I nearly died trying to get it. And we have Gwenpool holding onto Howard's feet as they jump off the building, and Howard shouting, I can't fly! I can't fly! She goes, woo! And she lands and says, dang, I love jumping off of tall things and surviving. It's like my favorite thing, as she throws Howard at a Hydra agent and throws a knife into someone else's head. They go in and they see this guy who's all mutating from the virus, and this evil woman in green is saying, symptoms of the bioweapon are proceeding perfectly. Portion the powder through the subway. The air currents will do the rest. Says, brilliant, ma'am. And she says, I saw a thing about it on PBS. Once the city realizes it's pandemic, we can make whatever demands we choose for the cure, or not. We could just let it die and rise in its husk. And the Hydra agent says, would love to get that cure ASAP if possible. She says, silence. Well, now what? Other than ceasing all breathing completely while in this room, obviously. And then then Gwenpool jumps up and says, this looks like a good time to stop you. And Howard says, what? No, charging and yelling was the worst option. You have guns. They work from far away. And female Hydra agent says, what are you? What, aren't you the one who sold us this? Yes, I did, and I've been made to feel bad about it. She says, you're a terrible fighter. I'm learning on the job. Besides, I don't even need those weapons. That's right, Madam Hydra, because I remember reading an old Nick Fury story that your weakness is, and she says, I'm not Madam Hydra. She says, excuse me? I'm not Madam Hydra. We're both brunettes and both work for Hydra, but I'm not her. She says, oh, and I'm obviously not letting you out of here with the virus. And she goes, new plan. She grabs the box with the bioweapon and eats all the virus. She goes, gulp. She goes, blah, see, no more virus. And everyone's panicking and says, she's highly contagious, get out. And Howard stops her by knocking her over with a table and says, oh, you are the last person who's going to escape this situation, lady. All right, so now what are you going... What, you got a healing factor you've been hiding? He says, I don't, but when we came in here, I saw that guy in the tube and thought, Gwen, that's just mumps. That guy has. And back where I come from, I got vaccinated from mumps. Howard says, kid, we have the MMR vaccine in this universe too. That's not the mumps. And she goes, oh, crap. And he says, hey, Lady Hydra, did you say something about a cure? Says, yes, take it before you infect us all. So she takes it, and they give what's left to the Hydra agent who's also suffering, and then they leave. Yes, so as Gwen and Howard are leaving after their transaction with the Black Cat, she says, you just gave up millions of Hydra dollars to help me out. Because essentially Gwenpool comes back, gives the money to the Black Cat to buy the box back, and she says, you just gave up millions of Hydra dollars to help me out. I think you actually figured out how to be a superhero. She goes, Cuff, I don't like it. It was so much money. Well, from one outcast from another universe to another, welcome to your new home. Please stop trying to destroy it. She says, fine. Says, how'd you get here anyway? Mine was a reality nexus. She says, portal in the back of my wardrobe. Come on, seriously? I don't know. A tornado brought me here? Tell me. I fell in the hole chasing a rabbit. Wow, fine. And that's the end. Fun book. Really, really liking... I love Gwenpool. I actually like Gwenpool better than Deadpool. I'm going to say it. She's just a little bit more unhinged. And I'm also liking the main story with the Shock at Linda crossover. So Howard the Duck number 3, worth the $5 so far. What are your next two there, Phil?
Well, we're going to get into some Spider-Man books here. I guess I'll go with first Amazing Spider-Man number 6. And I know what you're saying. There was just one out last week, but like I said, I don't think this is supposed to be out till next week.
I think this is like a 6th one, because this is like a separate story, right? Because this is the...
Yeah, it's like the beginning of a new arc, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we see someone locked up in a Department of Justice transport ship until they're broken out by an army led by... Cloak and Dagger. Dagger's all in black, Cloak's all in white. They're reversed. Get it? Like a negative? Because it's Mr. They're freeing Mr. Negative.
I see where this is going.
Yep. We can bring out the worst in everyone. So they break him out. And then they go to Parker Industries in Shanghai, where Peter's having lunch on the roof with, I guess this woman is... the engineer or something who works on the Spider-Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Because Peter's needed on the ground, and she's like, here. She's like, I'll take you down. I'll drive you down the building. And he's like, well, you know I have an express elevator, right? But she's like, no. She's like, this will be quicker. I'll drive. She's like, only 2 people can handle this baby, me and Spider-Man, because only he has a spider sense. And Peter's like, wait, you don't have a spider sense. And so they drive down. The police are there, and I guess they're doing no. First, Peter was meeting with someone. I guess they're an investor who's looking to invest in the green fuel they're making, and Philip Chang is the lead doctor on that. I believe he wasn't he an old friend of Peter's from back in the day? Looks like. Nepotism's like abounding here because, you know, Philip Chang, Harry Osborn. I think Peter's just hiring all his friends.
Technically, that's cronyism, not nepotism.
That's true. They're not related. That's true. But then they see the local police are there because I guess they're after everything that happened last issue, they're still looking for the mole in the company. Wonder who that could be, Charlie.
I would not know. Could it be the living brain?
Literally the living brain. And then from one of the cops, Peter hears that Mr. Negative's escaped. And then Peter's about to freak out, but then he because the cops are like, "Oh, Spider-Man brings trouble to the city," but then Peter's like, "No," he's like, "Me and Spider-Man just want to help," and the cops like, "Well, we do have a situation going on downtown where it's a construction site, and I guess one of the employees was going to get fired, so he's going all postal on them, smashing everything with a wrecking ball." So of course, Peter goes there as Spider-Man, and we see some of the new specialized webbing. Cartridge 7 has quick drying web cement, and
I like seeing Peter experiment more with his webbing. He used to do a lot of fun things with his webbing back in the day, and then they sort of moved to more standardized webbing, and it's nice to have the trick webs back in the arsenal.
But then, of course, the guy drops the wrecking ball right in front of him, and he goes, "Right, Miley Cyrus here." Because he hops on the wrecking ball and uses Web Cartridge 3, which has acid webbing. He's singing Miley Cyrus' song the whole time while he redirects the wrecking ball to the ground where it lands safely. And the disgruntled employee is trying to get away. He webs him up and he says, "Oh no, you don't." And he goes, "My shoulder's killing me, and you have that song stuck in my head all day now." But he sees a patch on the guy's shoulder, which I guess that's what Mr. Negative's using to control people now. But so Peter takes the patch back to Parker Industries, and he tells one of his guys there. He says, "We need a cure. We need a cure for this." And the guy's like, "But Mr. Parker, my work's at a critical juncture. I expect a breakthrough." He's like, "And it'll still be there when you're done. This takes top priority." And the guy's like, "So that's how it is? Whenever Spider-Man has one of his little adventures, the rest of us have to drop everything and help him?" And Peter's like, "All of Parker Industries' greatest discoveries have come from helping Spidey out. That is how we work here. We help him save the world, and then we repurpose that tech to make that world a better place." He's like, "You'll see, it's all for the best."
Well, yeah, I just like the idea, like, "Oh, here's this thing. Let's cure this, okay?"
Yeah, I know.
So, we had like an hour. Can we just whip up a cure?
But yeah, so Peter walks away still singing Miley Cyrus music. Goes to his office. He's like, "I might have to sleep." His shoulder still hurts. So I might have to sleep this off. Until Cloak and Dagger come in. They say their boss wants to see him. And he's like, "What? Cloak and Dagger?" And Dagger's like, "That wasn't a request." So she starts shooting daggers at him and throwing kicks at him. And he's jumping out of the way all Spider-Man style because Dagger's even like, "Since when are you so nimble?" And he's like, Money buys me the best ninja warrior personal trainers."
Okay.
Yeah. And the issue ends with Mr. Negative shows up and puts his hand on Peter's shoulder. So that can't be good.
Nope, because now he's going to be evil Peter Parker. Dun, dun, dun.
But it was good. Good start to the new arc. I give it a thumbs up.
There we go. Okay, thumbs up.
Yep, and the other Spider-Man book, my last one, Spider-Man 2099 number 5. The guy they were fighting, he used to go by the name, he's going by Queeg now. The cyborg was I guess he's leaving Parker Industries and he's crossing the street and he gets hit by a bus.
Either way. Look both ways, kids.
So, like I was telling you before, then Miguel's talking to Roberta, and because they go back to her apartment so she can get her uniform, and he's asking her, "How are you here from 2099?" And she's like, "I'm reasonably sure that's something to do with Mr. Fantastic, but beyond that, my mind's a blank."
But which Mr. Fantastic?
And then Miguel's looking at all the pictures on the walls, and they're all just pictures of Roberta by herself, and Captain Captain America saying, "Well, she thinks she's posing with her husband and children." She goes, "They're back in 2099."
Except we know that her husband isn't.
That's right.
Mm.
So they're talking about Captain America's like, "You have a time machine?" And he's like, "Yeah, but it automatically pulls me back after an hour." And then he's like, she seems to know who he is, and he's like, how do you know who he is? And she's like, "Oh, we met several years ago. You were a scientist at Alchemax. I was a test subject. You made a pass at me." And he's like, oh God, that was you. And she's like, "You seem a little she's like, "You seem like much less of a bastard than you were." Then they go try to find Queeg. Captain America, it seems, well, she jumps off the roof. It seems like she has some kind of like holographic, almost looks like Falcon's wings.
Cool.
So, because
you might as well keep those in the mix, when you're going forward.
Because Miguel's like, everyone has a glider system these days. He's like, I thought I was being innovative, because he has those kind of like jet boots for quick, takeoff, the glide.
Yeah.
But Queeg's back in the street. Queeg's back up. He's fighting the cops until Miguel and Captain America show up. And not only does she have holographic wings, she has a holographic shield too.
Sweet. Well, technically, it's a solidified sound, or some other similar force field. Cap used to have one of those. Iron Man gave him one when he lost his shield.
Yeah, at the bottom of the ocean, yeah. So Queeg throws a bomb in the middle of a crowd, and Miguel's trying to help everyone. It looks like a staircase type thing. I mean, you live closer to New York. It kind of looks like the thing you remember in Amazing Spider-Man 2. The movie where Elektra is trying to almost electrocutes everyone.
Okay.
Kind of looks like it, but meanwhile, Captain America runs to one of the police cars and calls for ambulances and backup, and someone says, the person on the other end says, "Who the hell is this?" And she goes, "Captain America." And the person goes, "You sound like a woman." She goes, "Yes, I get that a lot." Gotta go. But Captain America uses a trick where Queeg's gun is encoded to his DNA, only he can shoot it without, anyone else tries to shoot it, they get electrocuted. So she holds his gun and makes him pull the trigger, so he electrocutes himself. Until a big transport plane comes in and rolls out a tank and keeps them all occupied while they steal Queeg. And it's some woman. She says her name is Aisa, A-I-S-A. I guess she says she works for the Fist, the terrorist group that Miguel's looking for.
The Fist.
Yep. But that was the end of the issue. Good story. Better than... Had less problems than some of the issues like we had some problems with. So.
Quick question. When she says that she works for the Fist, is Fist an acronym or is it just the Fist?
She still didn't say. All it says is Fist. There's no... periods or anything between it. She just says Fist. So
I'm guessing it's Fist like hand as opposed to shield like shield.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Although I always want to say that Hydra's an acronym, but it's not. So it's weird that way.
All right, Charlie. What's your last book?
Okay. Well, I did my fun books. Now we get to the serious book, Squadron Supreme, #2. Okay. So we open up, and interesting in this is we have Thundra. Battling Strongbow, who is one of the Crystal Warriors. But we also see the Magma Men and the Crystal Warriors fighting together. This, I guess, is showing sort of the... takes place... it's in Cleveland National Forest. I didn't even realize this. It's in Cleveland National Forest in California. Because these are all denizens of Weird World. I completely missed that. So... That is interesting. That apparently a lot of the perhaps people got evicted from Weird World when Black Knight took over, and I guess the Crystal Warriors and the Magma Men are now allied against their common enemy, these fleshy human things. And Thundra tells Tyndall to run. He says, no, Mistress Thunder, I will not leave you. And he says, that is not a request, you brave little twerp. That's an order. Run and find the Squadron Supreme. Now, remember that after he found the Squadron Supreme last issue, Thunder started to think better of the suggestion of finding the Squadron Supreme. Then we get a quick intro. And we see news reports sort of breaking up about, who is the Squadron Supreme. The Unity Squadron has been sent after them, blah, blah, blah. And in financial news, because that's a segue, the name everyone is talking about is Raymond Kane. I love how no matter how far we go in time, news reports always drop back into this 1950s style, which is really not even appropriate, but it's like this newsreel style of thing where just that just an excessive amount of exposition going on. But Raymond Kane seems to be all anyone is talking about following the acquisition of Oracle Incorporated. The interesting thing about Oracle is that Oracle actually is a real company in the real world, but it's also the company that the Submariner used to own, apparently. Speaking of to the victories go the spoils. This caused a lot of confusion in the first Tony Stark film because there was a product placement at the Stark actually the second one, Iron Man 2, because there was a lot of speculation that the product placement of Oracle in Iron Man 2 at the Stark Expo was supposed to be a reference to Submariner, but of course it was just product placement for Oracle. Anyway, so we catch up with Nightwing, who is actually Raymond Kane, because he's changed his name, but apparently coming to this universe, he still has millions of dollars, enough to stage hostile takeovers and everything like that, so we'll just go along with that. He is at a facility where they are processing what they say is oil, but Raymond Kane has realized it is not oil, but something alien. He is fighting a Chimerian, which are these horse aliens that you may remember from Power Pack, which is interesting to see them kind of being bad guys in this, I suppose. Although, hey, it's a big universe. I'm sure there's many chameleon mercenaries out there. He is speaking Kree, which we find out later, although Nightwing doesn't recognize it, or Nighthawk doesn't recognize it at the time. Mm-hmm. And he says he needs to... the chameleon blows up the processing plant as Nighthawk and the Night Kite escape. The Night Kite is the name for his plane. And he says, I should notify the other my findings. I'm especially curious what Hyperion will make of all this. And we cut to Hyperion, who is sort of wandering the nation of America to find his own way. And he's at a diner called Tony's, and he meets a truck driver who's telling him, I've been all around, and I always make a point to stop at Tony's because it has the best pie, yada yada. And Hyperion says, I'm between jobs, trying to work things out. And he said, this country, the world, too, but specifically America, I feel of late I've lost my way and home. My home is gone forever. And Juan, the trucker, says, yeah, I've been there myself, nowhere, wandering. Then I saw the light. And Hyperion says, you found God? You mentioned him a moment ago. He says, no, son. Got myself a rig and saw the taillights of whatever truck was in front of me. You want to understand this country? See the land, meet the people. No better way than behind the wheel of a big rig. Reminds me, gotta get going. Nice talking to you. Name's Juan, by the way. He says, I'm Marcus. Mark, yeah, thanks for the advice. Lunch is on me, okay? Well, that's mighty nice. Thanks, Mark. A trucker's life, I tell you. That's the way to go. And meanwhile, we see that Princess Power apparently does some kind of vampire stuff to keep her youth and power going. Sucked the life out of some poor fella in the bedroom. Said his name was Jerry or Jerry. I never did learn which spelling, whether it's G or J. There was something about him, his smile, a gentle smile. Says, no, it's for the greater good. And then Someone appears and says, whoever your friend is, Power Princess, it looks like you've run out of things to talk about. So who are you? I'll kill you. Yes, and I'd counter that by suggesting that if you want to know who I am, it would necessitate not killing me. My name is Mordred. At an earlier, quainter time in my life, I was Mordred the Mystic. And you should be aware of one thing. I know what you want, and I can help you get it. I can help you get it all. Dun, dun, dun. Meanwhile, Dr. Spectrum is having a nightmare of when her planet was destroyed. And it says, the dream never tells me how I survived, no, but only tells who it was that saved me. And we see Black Bolt. Yes, every night I dream. She awakes and there's Blur, and they're in the this former Atlantean base that, in this uncharted section of the ocean that apparently was charted on Dr. Spectrum's world because she had actually found it in her world. And she takes Blur back up to the surface world because he wanted to get out. And about Dr. Spectrum, every time she comes up, she goes to Egypt for some reason. I'm sure we'll learn that later. Well, the Blur just runs everywhere because he's our resident speedster. Meanwhile, in the Sonoran Desert of Arizona, Nighthawk has deciphered what the alien was, what the language was he was speaking, and what the substances they're pumping out of the ground. It's apparently some sort of highly volatile stimulant for the Badoon, and it is being used by the Kree for some reason. I'm not quite sure. But then the Unity Squad shows up, and Nightwing says, about time, I suppose. I'm impressed you found me. And Steve Rogers says, who do you think you're talking to? The Bush League? We're the Avengers. And we're uncanny that way, says Deadpool. So you come quietly, or are we going to dance? And Nightwing, I always want to call him Nightwing. Nighthawk says, that's Foxtrot. And, okay, I'll give you, we're looking at the scene here on the next line of the Squadron Supreme standing over the bodies of the uncanny Avengers, and that's fine. But let's be honest here, we've got Nighthawk up against we've got the Human Torch too on this mix. So we've got magic, we've got healing factors, we've got our own speedster, and of course Rogue and Synapse. I kind of think that they're a little outmatched, but we'll see. Granted, they don't have a big powerhouse, like they don't have a Hulk or a Thor on their team to take out Hyperion, so that's going to be their limitation. But we'll have to see how it all plays out. Still loving Squadron Supreme. Big thumbs up. Definitely my pick of the week for the 3 books I got. Although I got to say, Gwenpool and Howard always come close. Usually are, but Squadron Supreme, I'm really liking where they're going with it. So that's where I'm at. Phil, let's do your last 2 books.
No, that was it. I did all mine.
Oh, great. So we're done. Yay. And only a little bit over time.
All right. Yeah. So let us know what you think. Did you like the sneak preview? I can't get you a sneak preview every week of some of the books, but got it this week. You can discuss anything Marvel with us. Email us, marvelroundup@gmail.com. On Facebook, we're All New Marvel Roundup. And on Twitter, we're @Marvel_Roundup. And you can discuss anything Marvel and DC with me, NightwingPDP@gmail.com. And on Twitter, I'm @NightwingPDP. And Charlie?
And of course, you can always follow me on Twitter @CharlieEsser, CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Where we will soon be live tweeting Agent Carter, the second Avenger, I suppose. Because Cap's the first Avenger, so I guess I'll make sure the second Avenger. It works for me. And of course, you can always write to me, as people have, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. Thank you.
That's right. Follow us in the Super Connectivity either tomorrow or the next day, because we got some fan mail. All right. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week. Forget what was on the list, but I looked at the list for next week. I think there's some more good stuff coming out, but there always is with Marvel.
Yes.
So tune in. And remember, Marvel DC crossover is coming. Watch for it. Good night.
Good night.